Welcome to The Network, a success podcast for nurse and healthcare consultants to learn the strategies and tactics to launch and grow a profitable consulting firm. And now for your host, Elle Pearson.
Hello and welcome to episode 5 of The Network. I'm your host, Elle, and I'm so excited to welcome you back to another episode where we help nurse and healthcare consultants learn the strategies to launch and grow a profitable consulting practice. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to let you know that the Nurse Consultant Network is going to be hosting our very first Nurse Consultant 2-day intensive bootcamp in March of 2019, and I am so excited about this. We're going to be hosting this event in Houston, Texas, and you definitely don't want to miss out if you're ready to jumpstart or fine-tune your nurse consulting practice. So because we're going to be doing so much hands-on work with each consultant, we're going to be limiting this event to only 40 participants. So I encourage you to take advantage of our early bird pricing, which is going to be available until November 1 of 2018. So if you would like to reserve your seat, for more information, be sure to go to www.thenurseconsultantnetwork.com/bootcamp to learn more. So without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. So let me ask you a quick question. If you are a nurse consultant and you've decided to keep a part-time or maybe even a PRN position in the hospital setting as a nurse, do you know the CNO or the CEO at your place of work? If not, today we're going to be talking about why getting to know key executive leaders at your place of work can really help build your consulting practice. In today's episode, I'm going to introduce you to 3 reasons why building a strategic relationship with executive leaders can provide you with some pretty eye-opening opportunities. Now, I do want to provide you with a quick disclaimer in the very beginning of the episode, because what I don't want you to do is to market your consulting services or solutions to your place of work. Now, by doing this, it would be considered a conflict of interest. So you have to be mindful of the conversations that you're having with others when you're talking about your consulting practice. Now, it's absolutely okay to be proud of what you're doing as a nurse consultant, and it's okay to share that with people who you trust. But always proceed with caution when you're talking about your business while you're still employed at that particular organization. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, in the beginning of the episode, I asked you if you knew any members of your executive team at your workplace. Well, there's a reason why you need to make getting to know your workplace executives a priority. To start, the CNO, the CEO, any vice presidents or directors, they all have one very important thing in common. They're all decision makers. And as a consultant, these are the same type of leaders you'll be having conversations with, so you need to become comfortable speaking their language and having engaging interactions with them. Remember, you're not connecting with these leaders to pitch your consulting solutions, but you're connecting with them to learn how to effectively communicate and build your confidence when you're having conversations with leaders. Now, years before I even considered going into consulting, I was a nurse in the NICU. And I came across a leader who really intrigued me. Now, I was on our hospital's internet page and there was an article where she was featured in, and she had worked on a very special project, and she herself had introduced some very innovative solutions, and they were all very successful. And so I could have just read that article and continued on about my day, but I wanted to know more about her. So I looked her information up in our employee directory. I sent her an email, and surprisingly, she wrote me back, and she actually invited me to lunch. Now, she told me that she had never received an email from anyone who admired what she was doing, and she was really impressed, and she wanted to get to know me. And so that simple email turned into a mentorship, which I had no idea that was going to happen. And that mentorship later turned into a friendship that provided me with, not one, a lot of information that I didn't know or wasn't exposed to. And number 2, it provided me with a lot of valuable information that I would later use as a nurse consultant. So till this day, we are still connected. And although we don't see each other as often as we'd like, we still try to squeeze in lunch from time to time. And she's still very influential in my life. Now, at the time, I had no idea what I was doing, but I was building a strategic relationship. A strategic relationship for us as consultants is so important and is so valuable. So I highly advise you to connect with any leaders, especially those leaders who you in fact admire. Now, the second reason you need to take the time to get to know the decision makers at your place of work is it provides you with an invaluable learning opportunity. If you ask the right questions, you'll get to know what problems the organization is dealing with that you may not be exposed to. You'll also be able to identify the consultants who are currently working in the organization. And most importantly, you'll learn how they select outside consultants and vendors. Now, this insight will help you in your practice, and it provides you with direct insight to learn how those leaders make decisions, choose consultants, and it can truly be a game changer for your practice. So you definitely don't want to miss out on this information. Now, the third reason, and probably the most important reason why you want to reach out to build strategic relationships with any executive leaders is the fact that you never know when they'll leave that organization and potentially become a lead. So initially, you may have been restrained from introducing your consulting solutions and marketing your consulting solutions and services. However, when leaders move on to new opportunities, this becomes an opportunity for you as well. So if you've done a great job at staying connected and staying top of mind and building that relationship, then this relationship can potentially turn into a win for your consulting firm. So I'm sure you're wondering, how do you break the ice with those key executive leaders? Well, there's one thing that you and that leader have in common. You both have email. And if you are still an employee of that organization, you have access to everyone in the system. This is a huge resource to you. So take the time and send an email, introduce yourself, and possibly even request a lunch date. This is how I was able to form a connection with a very influential executive, which turned into a friendship. So once you've established that relationship, ask to sit in on a meeting or to shadow that leader for the day. If anything at all, this is going to be a great learning opportunity for you. So I encourage you to implement the tips I share with you today to build relationships, strategic relationships with executive leaders that can lead to eye-opening information. Well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you found it valuable and you're ready to start building strategic relationships with executive leaders. Until next time, I'll chat with you in the next episode. Take care. Hold on before you go. If you're interested in networking with a like-minded group of nurses, I'd like to personally invite you to join our free Nurse Consultant Mastermind group on Facebook. Go to www.thenurseconsultantnetwork.com/community to start masterminding with us.
Thanks for listening to the Network Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you're ready to monetize your knowledge as a consultant, head over to thenurseconsultantnetwork.com and check out our free resources. Until next time.